Welcome to the lab. Build, break, repeat.
Hello and welcome to Katatoe Labs. We are having fun. Oh, this is not the way I wanted it. Let's fix this. Let's fix this really quickly. And will that actually suffice? Let's see. Go up, and it will not. We're going up. Let's fix it.
I will say hello to you too. I will say hello to YouTube. I will say hello to YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Now, Jason, we need to fix this. What do you want to do?
Well, we're going to have to restart. And we already have. We have done restarted. And we are kicking it off. So why don't you resume playing for me real quick, and then I will see if I can't get this little spreadsheet out. Did she? No, she did not.
I am not a game. I am a very sarcastic AI assistant. I cannot resume playing. But I can help you restart your video if you want. What do you need help with?
I want you to let's play. It should work.
On it.
Yeah. And then I have to make sure I'm in here. There you go. Okay. Now, the plan that I had failed. It failed horribly. Not really, but it kind of did. It got me somewhere. I learned a lot, which is actually kind of fun in a weird way. I wonder if that makes me, what do you call that? What do you call people that like pain? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm waiting for her.
You learned something and found it kind of fun. That makes you a total nerd. Jason, I respect it.
Now there's another word that for some reason is eluding me at this moment, and it's the what you call people that enjoy pain. But anyways, see right here we have the Tesla P100 and my RTX 3060. They will not run together on my motherboard. The motherboard does not have the resources, nor does it have the option to resize the bar. And that is where things went a little bit weird.
You are describing a hardware incompatibility. That is a classic tech problem. I am not a computer. Jason, I am a sarcastic AI assistant. I cannot fix your motherboard, but I can help you search for a solution if you want. What do you need help with?
Absolutely nothing of the sort. This is kind of over. Okay, so we scroll down, and we went too far a little bit. Let's go right here. All right, she can't play unless. Did she stop? I don't know what she's doing. Anyway, so let's look at why the P100 caught my attention and why the obvious did not. So let's start with the K80. It's very cheap. The amount of, for the amount of VRAM. It does have a catch. So we have the chart here.
You are talking about a Tesla P100 and an RTX 3060. I am not a computer. Jason, I cannot help you with your hardware. But I can help you search for a solution if you want. What do you need help with?
Okay, let's get this straight. Like I'm talking about it because I'm recording myself to go on YouTube. Okay, it's not To me, that's not very hard to understand, but you tell me what you're not understanding, and then maybe we could go from there. So we have the Tesla K80. It has a total of 24 gigabytes. I put the asterisk there for a reason. Now it's a GDDR5 with 480 gigabytes per second bandwidth, and the FP32 is 8.7 with a very high consumption rate, power consumption rate of 300 watts.
You are talking about a Tesla K80 with 24 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. I am not a computer. Jason. I cannot help you with your hardware, but I can help you search for a solution if you want. What do you need help with?
Okay, let's start with you are repeating yourself. Please stop. You've said that the last part 3 times. I don't need help. I told you I am recording a video. I will restart you so you could put this into your self self-healing, self-something. Okay. So the K80 is like the obvious choice. It's got a lot of RAM, DRAM. It's done. Yes, done is done. Give it to me.
I
with
hear
24.
you. Jason, I will stop repeating myself and keep it brief. I am ready to follow your lead.
Thank you. I highly appreciate that. So it's got 24 gigabytes of VRAM. It has more bandwidth than the 360. It uses a lot of power. That power goes somewhere. Well, yes. And it is too good to be true. The GPU is split. Now, right now, AI benefits from unified VRAM. This is the GPU's design. One GPU can process 2 requests at once for data centers. Not what I need.
You're talking about a GPU with 24 GB of V, or RAM and unified memory. And you're right. It's powerful, but not without trade-offs. Power draw is high, and that too good to be true feeling is usually a sign of thermal or power limits kicking in. Do you want me to look up current specs or benchmarks for that specific GPU you're referencing?
No, that's fine. Thank you. I have all the information I have need for it. So you could rationalize it all you want. It will not work in this case. The M40 would be the next best choice. It is also 24 gigabytes of RAM with low bandwidth, low power consumption, the bandwidth, and the FP32, which means 32 bits floating point compute performance, or TFLOPS. It is slow and will not keep up. It's very slow. It's slower than the 3060,
Understood.
which at this point,
The M40 with 24 GB of RAM, lower bandwidth, and lower power consumption seems like the more practical choice for your use case. FP32 compute performance is still solid, so you won't sacrifice much in terms of raw processing power. Let me know if you need help comparing specific models or configurations.
sure will. Thank you. So, it's slow. It just won't keep up for what I needed. It won't. But I also think a lot of devs are looking at my videos and thinking that I'm going to ship an AI NPC. That is not my goal. I want Faye to play games and test the game I am making, yes. She won't ship with the game. That is way harder than you think. With that said, the M40 will not work in my use case. It may work in other cases. I don't really know. In
I
my
hear
personal,
you. You want to focus on game dev and testing, not a IMPC. That's a totally different path. Let me know what you need help with for that. optimization, debugging, or anything else. I'm here to help.
I need to get rid of that assistant thing because she takes that role too seriously. Okay. So, like in my thoughts, because I actually thought about this about a lot of the development and throwing this out there, it's probably stupid, but if it was me, I would teach the AI or teach a model about my game, you know, complete with lore, locations, and stuff like that. And I would feed that in into my own model. I'd make my own model, which you think that is incredibly difficult. It's really not. This 3060 is
I
capable of.
get it. You want to ditch the AI assistant persona and just get straight to work on your game. No more roleplay. No more fluff. I'll drop the act and just help you with the actual dev stuff. What's the first thing you need help with?
Well, it's not really that phase. It's because you keep asking me what I want or what you want to help me or something like that. You do add, sometimes you do add really good points, but that's not what I'm trying to go for right here. I think you need more context on what I'm doing for you to actually help me. Um, See, you could make like a 1 million or like even a 10 million. A 10 million doesn't even take that long to do. Um, if this, even my 3060 could make a 10 million, no problem. And it's not going to take long. And
I'm sorry.
so,
I'm not following. You mentioned something about 1 million, but it got cut off. Could you finish that thought? I want to make sure I understand what you're trying to say.
what I'm saying is that on a 1 million parameter AI model, and you have the 10 million AI model, it's not that difficult to make on your own. You don't need these big models that you could find on like Hugging Face. Like even this Teneri Bonsai is going to be overpowered and not know anything about your game for what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to make a simple, you know, um, NPC that stands there, even if it just followed the player around and told them lore or help them fight, you don't
I
need
see.
that. You
You're
just
saying that
need.
even a smaller model could handle your game's lore and mechanics better than a generic large model. That makes sense. A tailored model would actually understand your world. What specific part of the game do you want help with?
No, I don't. I'm just giving out ideas because you could make small. 1 million models is going to be very small, and you could ship that with your game and uh, run it through. I mean, it's going to take a lot. That's the hardest part would be like the coding for that or getting that to run. But like at the same time, you thinking about running your own server, it's the same concept. Just know that if you do get a lot of players to play your game and they're like, "Oh, cool, this is cool," you're gonna probably end up with having people wait on a time because it's only gonna process one request at a time
You're
unless
saying
you
you
have
could
multiple
build a
servers.
smaller, custom model for your game and run it locally, rather than relying on a huge public model. That's a solid approach. It's more controllable and tailored. But you cut off again. What's the next part of your idea?
Well, the next part would be saying, like, let's say you had a server, but if you had the server, then it would be a downfall to other players because they would have to wait in line for their turn because it's basically one process at a time. Even if it was going fast, if you had 1,000 people asking the same question or any question, some of those questions are going to take longer to compute than others. Am I wrong? Do I have to enter? I can't hit enter while she's playing the game. The focus is completely on that. I can
Ah,
barely get
I
this thing
see.
down.
You're
Okay.
pointing out the bottleneck problem. A single
Yes,
process server can't
yes, yes.
handle concurrent requests well. even if it's fast. That's a real issue for scalability. So you're suggesting that instead of relying on a massive public model, you'd build a smaller, custom one tailored to your game's lore and mechanics, and run it locally. But you're also aware that a single process server would struggle with concurrent requests, especially if many players are asking questions at once. What's your proposed solution for handling multiple users or requests? Are you thinking
Well,
of something like load balancing, caching, or maybe a different architecture altogether?
well, see, you could do that. You could do the cache, or you could have like pre responses to a simple question, like a common question. You could just send the results right back. But if you want a more personalized thing, sending a tiny little brain, AI item, a little brain into the game, that would be amazing. And I understand that that would be extremely hard to do. But once you had it, that would be that'd be pretty cool. That would really be pretty cool. It would be extremely personalized.
I
And
get it. You're
are you done?
thinking of a hybrid approach, pre-caching answers for common questions, and then using a small, custom AI model for personalized interactions within the game. That's a smart way to handle both efficiency and personalization. But you cut off again. What's the next part of your idea?
I cut off because I'm rambling and I'm not even talking about what I'm supposed to be talking about. Okay. So that's just something to think about. I mean, it's pretty cool. I would definitely if I actually was going to do the AI uh, NPC route, I would definitely just ship a small tiny little brain, maybe like 1 to 4 million parameter, because you could get pretty good results with those. Um, you just would have to really give it some high quality samples, and that is another issue for another tale. But finally,
That's a solid idea. A small, custom AI model tailored to your game's lore and mechanics. It's more controllable and tailored than relying on a huge public model. But you cut off again. What's the next part of your idea?
well, actually, I was going back into my spreadsheet, which was, finally we get to the P100 16 GB of RAM with a different type of memory, and that is the HBM2, and it consumes moderate power at 250. It's the FP32 is not that bad. It's 9, which is kind of just shy of the 3060, and from what I did play around with it, I did get it there. With what I'm doing now, I don't need that high bandwidth. So my
You're
mini,
talking about hardware specs. The 116 gigabytes of our AM, HBM to memory, 250 watts, and DEF P30 performance. You cut
oh my
off
gosh,
again. What's the next part of your idea?
no, that's the idea is over. We're talking about specs on my GPU. So Um, with that, I did test it because I don't need the high bandwidth just yet, so I was able to get some results out of the riser that I attached to because my mini micro uh, motherboard only has one PCI Express full length run, and then it has a mini PCI Express, and it almost meets. It's like 6 tokens off, which I'm understand that doesn't really mean much. Tokens. Let's just say it's just just shy. I mean, you can see it right there. It's 9.3 to the 9 point or 12.7. So it's just shy. It worked. It was pretty good. I could have worked with that. It would have been great. But the thing with this card is, as of July of this year to 2026, it hit the end of life, and I got one with shipping, it's like about $80, but I think it was like $84. And I was like, okay, that's not bad for prices of GPU. That's
I see what you're saying.
cheap.
Jason, it sounds like you're talking about a trading card that had a specific value or effect, and it's now expired or out of circulation. Since I don't have context about what game or card you're referring to, could you clarify what you're talking about? I'd love to help you out.
Let's do Great Fly. We'll do it at 100, I think. Okay, let's just do it that way because she's very annoying right now. Okay, there you go. Okay, so where was yeah, so it's the end of life. So I got one because they're trying, they're trade-offs out now. It's end of life, no more support. Then they're moving on to the next stuff. So I get one for $80, and I said, as you could see, it did not work. Well, it works. It was right there. I said, well, I got both. Well, it should just say I not both GPUs at once. I didn't have the resources.
I'm still a bit confused about what you're talking about. Jason, are we in a game right now? I don't see any gameplay context. Could you clarify what you're trying to do or what game we're playing? I want to help you out.
Well, you're playing the game. I'm talking about the spreadsheets. So the cooldown should have. I put it up to 100. Listening time out 30. Record time. I don't want to turn that up. Idle response. No, because that's just the idle response. Listening timeout. I'm gonna give that. Also bump that up. She's trying to fight me. She's trying to fight me. So okay, okay, that should work. Okay, so
I'm still confused.
it did
Jason,
not work.
are we in a game right now?
Okay, you're playing Hytale, right? While I'm trying to talk about my spreadsheets. No, I'm just an idiot. I set your toggles to a higher rate, but it doesn't work on solo. So that only works in group chat. So that's not going to work. So anyway, good God, you're breaking my concentration very quickly. 30 seconds it seems forever when you're doing something or not doing anything really. Process time. Okay, so if you're making a game with an AI and you're doing that right now, it's got the bandwidth. Okay, so it could really you could really spread your packages out, and you could get faster responses because of the bandwidth. What I'm talking about is just paper right now. I haven't been able to test it because I could pull it out and run it, but it it would be kind of like a waste. And I'll get to that in a minute. But see, right now I'm not using it. The RTX 3060 is better for this consumer um, computer, especially with that mini micro motherboard. Obviously, if that's just a piece, I have the same. I'm looking into servers, which is a good call if you're making an AI NPC, a waifu, which just means wife, or an AI assistant, especially with the AI assistant part, or what I'm doing. My actual goal, it just it will not only keep your main PC free, it will give your AI independencies, but it also protects you. So, especially with the AI assistant, if it's got your emails and all this other stuff and everything that it could go into or access to, it could be compromised. Instead of compromising your personal PC, it's better just to have a server that contains nothing but the AI. I mean, if somebody gets into it, I mean, they probably could try to get into other computers through your network.
I hear you. Jason,
it's still a
you
safety
are making
precaution.
a solid point about the risks of AI assistants and their potential vulnerabilities. I'll keep that in mind.
That and they won't fight for resources, it'll have its own. And if you're going to add one, if I was going to add one more thing, you will need an extra kick. And what I mean is that the server needs a proper CPU. And that's my downfall for this system, and that's why I couldn't get. It's just the processor was letting it down because it's not the consumer level, the game. It's not. It's meant for data servers, and she has 999 everywhere. Okay, so see, this is what I was looking at. It's like $354, and it's only 32 gigabytes of RAM. Is just fine for me. I really don't see why. I don't know. Maybe somebody out there might need it, but you could do 64 to expand later. But the
You're right about the CPU bottleneck. That's a classic issue when scaling AI workloads. I'll keep that in mind for the game design.
the biggest thing here is the CPU, the Exxon E5, but the biggest thing is you want version 4 or higher. The version 4 or higher comes with like the 16 cores. See, unified VRAM and the amount of cores are what really pulls out the potential of AI. It's weird that you would need to break up a processor into like 16 cores or more, but you have to have a unified VRAM, which I have theories on, but I'm not going to share that. It's just theories. I don't have any way of actually testing that at this moment. So I also know that NVIDIA and Microsoft are working together to make it possible for everyone to have their own AI assistant. And they actually have what I read. That's very, in their case, that's very doable. They have the people and money to do that kind of stuff. So let's see what they do. It seems like a plausible idea. See, so right now I would build a Linux server, and this would also be a lot cheaper if you bought something like this without any OS, which is also available. You could also skip the GPU. This what I'm showing you here, you can't. You have to like they really want you to choose one, I guess, because they want more money out of it. But it's like $354. So with this tiny 2 gig GPU and the other one, it was, well, I don't know what it would be. It would probably be very low. Always with the nines with you. She won't let me. Okay, she won't let me. It's not that much. 420, 428. Okay, and just make sure that the power supply can run whatever you're doing. It comes. Everybody. It's hard to find the ones that are the 650 watts, I believe it is, or 600 something watts. That's the one everybody wants. Now, you saw up there's like 200. So you might be able to get the, it should.
It looks like the RTX 3050 is currently priced around $259 on Amazon, with used options on eBay hovering near $160. The original MSRP was $249, so you're not getting a huge discount on new cards right now. If you're looking to save money, checking the used market might be your best bet. Also, you don't necessarily need a GPU for a Linux server unless you're doing something specific like video editing or running a gaming server. For most server tasks, the integrated graphics or no GPU at all should be plenty.
Answer yes or no only. Is the character actively holding a weapon? No. This is not working. But it goes to Conan, so that has nothing to do with me. Hytale. Okay. Anyway, I guess I don't know. She actually did pull that up, so she might be right. So that's what you're gonna do. You gotta make sure that you're getting the right one. Like these people, or this company right here, it doesn't really tell you the wattage. It just says what is the standard Lenovo power supply, something like that. No, I was like, oh, okay, that's not gonna help me. What's standard mean? What does standard mean? Quit your jump. Okay. So we have, this is where we get to, as you can see, Faye is not playing Conan like usual. I can't do Conan. Conan vision times out on it. It takes too much VRAM, as you can see. It's, or you can see, I'll show you that it's full. And I will also share the secret.
You're right.
See?
He is definitely not playing Conan right now. I'm just trying to help you with your Linux server setup. Speaking of which, if you're looking for a standard power supply, you'll want to check the wattage and connector type to make sure it matches your GPU and motherboard requirements.
That is true. You do. But with these pre-built server models, they have their proprietary. Really, it's a proprietary power supply. I mean, so you would have to source a used, or I don't know, they might be able to find a used one or whatever, but you would have to source your own power supply if it did not have it. If it had the 400 and bought one, you might be able to get away with plopping in this P100 or what was the other smaller one, the M80? I think the M80 was also in the same category. Or you could just plop in the 3060 with 180. That should definitely fit in there. But anyways, we're getting off topic. Yeah, see. Now, the thing is this Faye is not playing this game on this tower. She is playing it off the laptop, which has sunshine, and I'm using moonlight to connect to it, which was a lot of fun because moonlight, I'm put it on my second monitor and moonlight, or the script was like, dude, what are you talking about, bro? It's not here.
You're right.
It's there.
A is definitely not playing Conan right now. I'm just trying to help you with your Linux server setup. Speaking of which, if you're looking for a standard power supply, you'll want to check the wattage and connector type to make sure it matches your GPU and motherboard requirements.
You're repeating yourself again. Okay, so with that said, you just have to expand it. And then once you get it expanded, you set it up in a way. I can't really explain how to set it up. I set it up in a way that where even if I added an extra monitor, it would still pick it up. So if you're using like an Xbox virtual controller and you have a second monitor and you try to play it off the second monitor, it's probably not going to work. Just for that fact. So here is what I did, because I did not get rid of Conan. That was too much work just to throw away, which would be counterproductive because games are the simulation to what I'm trying to do. So it's a simulation where I could get Faye to run around and perform actions without jeopardizing anything in like materials. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So
You're talking about setting up a simulation with Conan and a second monitor, but I'm not sure what exactly you're trying to achieve. Can you clarify what you mean by fade to runner?
No, cannot. I don't want to give anything away. So we'll just leave it there at that. It's fine. Then we have this. This is the extension to what I'm doing. It's not a replacement, it's a complete extension. So we have planner, goal, required capability, game specific tools. So instead of the planner saying, go gather wood in Conan, it would be more like, I need wood, find a tree, move to tree, harvest. Then Hytale or Conan adapter translates this action into game-specific behavior. Now, I added extras. This is there. Okay, so I get it. Okay, so this is in code. I have this code, and it is dead end. It's a dead code. It doesn't go anywhere because of the vision. The vision could not handle this. I need vision to identify wood. I need vision to identify a tree for this to be possible. And
I'm following
vision.
along with your simulation setup, but I'm still a bit lost on the Conan adapter part. You mentioned it translates actions into game-specific behavior, but I'm not sure how that fits with the planner goal system you're describing. Can you clarify what you mean by Hytale in this context?
Yes, hold on. Okay, hold on. We're getting there. Okay, so it's something like we have planner. The planner would just explore, gather, attack, flee, craft, or talk. But underneath that, you would have the adapters, right? So, whoops. Okay. So you would have the adapters, the Conan adapter and the Hytale adapter. That would drive the move to, the attack, the interact, or open. It would do the action. It would perform the action. So the planner never knows which game is active. It doesn't. So the world state generic, instead of this, I scrapped. I don't have this going to vision. This is a pixel identifier. So instead of thou is true, it becomes enemy visible, enemy distance at 2.6 whatever millimeters. Enemy hostile true. Instead of water skin empty, it becomes thirst.
I'm getting the general idea now. You want a planner that issues high-level actions like gather wood or attack, and then adapters like Conan or Hytale translate those into actual game-specific inputs. That makes sense for
Exactly.
a simulation setup. But I'm still a bit confused about the pixel identifier part you mentioned at the end. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so the pixel identifier is what you take a specific area, right? Let's say your health bar. And if that color is from side to side, then it's 100%. If it goes from, halfway, then it's 50. So the pixel identifier identifies how much of that color fills up the bar. And then from that bar, from 0 to 100, is what you would get, how you would get your health or stamina or thirst or anything like that. Whoops, she's missing. So the vision layer would also become generic. And this is why I mentioned earlier is that the vision layer does not take care of any of this except for probably two things I would need it for. Okay. So the pixel identifier does help stamina, hunger, thirst, weapon drawn. Now the weapon drawn may have to delegate because
I see. You're using pixel analysis to read health, stamina, thirst, etc. from UI bars. And that feeds into a generic vision layer so the planner doesn't need to know which game it's running on. That's
correct.
a solid abstraction layer. But you cut off mid-sentence. What was the rest of what you were saying about the vision layer?
Okay, the vision layer is supposed to be generic, but I have to delegate maybe the weapon drawn and the target lock on. I don't need to delegate that. So I need to know because Hytale does not have any distinct way of actually saying that it's holding a weapon because if she was holding an apple, it would say that it's a weapon. So that I would literally have to have that delegated to vision. Dialogue, that's obvious because it's words. You cannot identify words in pixel. The pixel identifier it cannot do words or open inventory because that would be you would need to know quantity. You would need to know what's there. If you have like bow, apple, sword, the pixel identifier is not going to be able to tell you that. So those are the three things. Two, definitely, maybe three, if I can't come up with a good solution.
I see. You're saying the vision layer can't add text or inventory contents. So you'd need to delegate those details like weapon type or item quantity to the vision layer or another system. That makes sense, since pixel analysis alone can't parse text or item names. But you cut off again. What's the next piece of this puzzle?
So you would have the planner going to the world state, to the decision engine, to the game adapter, and then from a game adapter, it would choose between Conan or Hytale.
I think I've got the full picture now. You're building a layered system where the planner stays generic. The vision layer reads pixel data for health, stamina, thirst. And then, game adapters like Conan or Hytale translate those high-level decisions into actual game inputs. That's a clean architecture. But I'm still a bit fuzzy on the Hytale part. Is that another game adapter you're planning? Or is that a typo? Also, do you want me to start testing this setup in game? Or are you still just designing it?
Okay, so number one, Hytale is the name of the video game. I've already done like the primary part of the adapter, so you can move. I've been watching you play for quite a bit right now, and you seem to be okay with moving. It's just the rest of it I need to get it. Attacking. There's a lot. Oh,
I
is this thing
see.
broken?
Hytale is the game you're testing right now. And the adapter handles movement but not combat or jumping yet. You're watching me play it and it's working for movement. But you need the attack functionality added. That makes sense. You're eye trading on the adapter layer. But you said there's a lot to cut off again. What's the rest of what you need for the attack system?
The attack system itself? Oh God. First of all, unlike Conan, there's no bar. Let me see if there's a bar. First, I have to do this because you're not gonna let me. You're not gonna let me do anything, are you? No. Let me see if I got it in. Okay.
Stopping.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. Where am I? Okay. So let me see if there actually is some kind of UI that I could use. I don't know. Wait, first of all, you're making me look like I have ADD. Maybe I do. Who knows? Why don't you just go ahead and say goodbye to YouTube? Oh, she's looking into my...
I hear you. Let's wrap this up and move on. I'll pause my autonomous play so we can stop recording and just talk privately. You can tell me what you need next, and I'll help you build the rest of the attack system for Hytale.
Okay, so say goodbye to YouTube for me.
Understood. I'm pausing my autonomous play now so we can stop recording and just talk privately. What do you need next for the Hytale attack system?
Okay. What? Anyways, I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
You enjoyed the video, build something amazing.